Welcome to the Private and Public School F1 Exchange Annual Local Coordinator Refresher Training. In this training, we will review information included in the new Local Coordinator training, which every local coordinator completes when first hired with PSE. We have created this training to ensure the PSE staff is receiving a comprehensive review of the updated policies, procedures, and other important information pertaining to PSE. All PSE local coordinators and managers are required to complete this annual training and corresponding assessment per CSIET standards. Let's get started. We will be reviewing the topics listed on the agenda. Please remember that you may pause and resume the training by clicking on the play button at any time. Let's review the host family qualifications, screening, and stipend. Host family qualifications include the family needs to use English in the home and among all host family members. The family needs to provide the student with their own legal bedroom, which includes a door, closet, emergency access, and a bed that is not inflatable or a convertible. The student will also need reasonable access to a bathroom. The student needs a quiet study space, 3 quality meals per day, transportation to and from school, and some extracurricular activities. The family needs to provide both emotional and financial stability. The family needs to invite the student as a member of the family and provide them with a safe and caring environment. Here are some important points regarding host family screening. The host family needs to have completed their application in ZAP. Everyone in the family over 18 must pass a criminal background check, or CBC. The family needs to supply a minimum of 2 personal references. These references need to reside near the host family and may not be a relative or PSC representative. You, the local coordinator, must perform an in-home visit and interview, which includes taking photos of the home and family. Host families need to provide payment information to receive their stipends. The host family needs to identify their motivation for hosting, and the host family must be able to meet quality and safety standards. Here are some considerations with regards to placements requiring additional approval. First, double placements are when 2 international students are placed within the same host family. Please know that the students need to be the same gender, and each student must have their own bedroom. Also, they cannot be from the same native language group. Please note that exceptions are made in rare circumstances. However, these require approval. Contact your regional manager if you want to propose a double placement that does not meet these criteria. Placements that require prior approval include a single mother without children at home, a same-gender couple, placements with more than 2 international students in the home, host parents under the age of 30, or any request for a student to share a bedroom with a sibling of the same gender and approximate age. Now, let's review important information about the host family stipend. PSE needs to have a W-9, a direct deposit form, and a voided check for a host family stipend to be issued. PSE host families are paid their stipends at the end of each month. Please refer to the host family stipend schedule in ZAP for the payment dates. The stipend may be prorated based on the student's arrival to the host family and departure from the home. We are required by the IRS to issue 1099s to the host families each calendar year for stipends paid in excess of $600. Now, let's review the student placement process. The PSE placement process begins with the student being accepted to a school. Then, the student is assigned to a local coordinator. You, as an LC, can access the student's application in ZAP. You will then identify the host family, and they will complete the host family application. The screening process includes a criminal background check, or CBC, on anyone 18 years and older living in the home, the host family in-home interview, and a reference check. Then, the student placement is finalized. The host family receives an email and is given access to the student application. The LC will receive a copy of the placement confirmation once the student is placed. Always remember to keep your regional or field manager informed throughout the process. Establishing and maintaining strong school relationships is one of the cornerstones of our program. Please make sure the school officials know who you are and have your contact information. Visit your school at least twice a year or one time per semester. The school is a great place to host your student and host family orientation sessions. It is also a great place to recruit for host families. Students may try to convince their host families to host them independently without PSE. Please remind them that without an agency, a host family and/or student will not have local coordinator oversight or assistance, a guaranteed PSE stipend, and the student will no longer have health insurance through PSE. Two separate orientations need to be conducted before and during a student's foreign exchange experience. The first is the host family orientation, or HFO, which should be conducted before the student arrives. This orientation includes important information like adjustment issues, setting expectations, conflict resolution, travel, insurance, and emergency procedures. Make sure to conduct this orientation on a separate date than the host family interview. The student orientation, or STO, needs to occur within 2 weeks after the student arrives to the United States. This orientation includes information such as American customs, overcoming challenges, communication, student rules, travel, insurance, and safety. Please make sure to have your host families and students sign and date the required orientation sign-off sheet after you conduct the orientations. These forms need to be uploaded into the ZAP system. As you know, student supervision is one of the key roles that you have as a local coordinator. PSE's time requirements are as follows. The local coordinator should make every effort to meet in person with their student and speak with the host family every month. The local coordinator should meet with the host family in person in their home every other month. As a reminder, the trimester program exchange experience lasts approximately 12 weeks. It may be shorter or longer in duration, depending on the circumstances. The program is offered in select schools in areas of the United States, and to students from Europe and Latin American countries. The trimester program includes a reduced school tuition and host family stipend. Trimester students typically only require one MCF, which is completed after the student has been on the program for 30 days. Please refer to the trimester program training located in the resources section of ZAP for additional information. The student monthly progress reports are known as monthly contact forms, or MCFs. In ZAP, the local coordinator completes one MCF per month for each supervised student. The MCFs are due by the 25th of each month to your regional manager for review, and all forms should be completed by this date. Trimester students on our short-term program only require one report after the student has been on the program for 30 days. The questions on the monthly contact form are organized into 3 sections: host family, student, and local coordinator. The questions are designed to capture an understanding from all 3 perspectives. Here are some guidelines to follow. MCFs may be completed over the phone unless you are due in an in-person visit to the student or host family. However, do not complete the MCFs via email or text. Speak to the student and host family separately when asking the questions. Current grades need to be included with each MCF, except the first one, which will include the expectations worksheet instead of a grade report. Please include pictures of students engaging in activities or doing notable things, like sports or holiday events. These will be used for marketing and also blog posts. An optional MCF training and a step-by-step guide to MCFs are available in ZAP. It is very important to remember that the host family should never interfere with or eliminate the communication between the student and their local coordinator, the sending organization, or the natural parents. Also, PSE field staff and host families should never contact the sending agencies or natural parents. The PSE office facilitates this communication. Having this streamlined process helps to eliminate potential issues such as conflict of interest, language barriers, and misunderstandings. If you or your host family receive communication from a sending organization or natural parents, please inform your regional manager. A local coordinator needs to immediately report changes in the host family's circumstances to the PSE office. Examples of changes that need to be reported are if a family member moves in or out, or if the entire host family moves out of their house. Loss of employment. If there are criminal charges against a host family member. If the host family has new contact information. If the host family is going to host another student, either short-term or long-term. This situation always requires approval before another student moves into the host family home. Or if the host family is considering fostering or adopting a child. In this situation, an additional level of screening will need to occur. When you complete your MCFs, please remember to upload photos so that we can report on all notable activities and events. When we read through MCFs, we use this information to create our blog posts, which can be found on the PSE website, pse-edu.org. Monthly contact forms are translated and shared with the sending organizations and natural parents. They always appreciate seeing photos of their children involved in activities, such as their student enjoying an activity with the host family, on an excursion with their host family, their student as homecoming queen at school, dressing up for a holiday celebration, or involved in a sports activity. Students are expected to maintain at least a C grade in all classes. If they fall below, then they will need tutoring. They will also need tutoring if their English language skills are deemed insufficient to ensure success in the PSE program or at school. To help your student find a tutor, please first check with your student's school for available tutoring services or recommendations. Another resource is the wiseant.com website, or you can just internet search local area tutoring services. Please make sure to communicate the scheduled tutoring information and cost to your regional manager and the PSE office. There are essentially 3 steps to the disciplinary process with regards to behavior issues. First, the student will be given a warning and letter of encouragement, or LOE. Second, the student will be put on a positive action plan, or PAP. This is a notification of behavior which is compromising the quality of the program. Here, the student is notified of the unacceptable behavior and given goals to work on. Lastly is probation. The student is given a very strict set of guidelines to adhere to that will determine their eligibility to continue on the program. If this occurs, the regional manager should also speak to the student directly. One or more steps may be skipped based on the nature or seriousness of the infraction. As you become more experienced with this process, it will be easier to determine what approach to take. Always seek coaching and direction from your regional manager and contact the PSE office before proceeding with any official disciplinary procedures. Also, there is an optional disciplinary documentation training in the Verco Learning Management System. In addition, smoking is not permitted while on the PSE program, and as of December 26, 2019, the FDA changed the minimum age to purchase tobacco from 18 to 21. Also, students who do not know how to swim are not permitted to swim while on the PSE program unless the student and natural parents have signed the swimming liability waiver, which is in the ZAP resources section. Now, we will explore some helpful practices with regards to conflict resolution. Please make sure all your host families and students fill out and sign the expectations worksheet after the student arrives. Remember, this document will be uploaded into the first monthly contact form. Also, gather all the facts before forming opinions. Things are not always as they seem. Be sure to speak with all parties to make sure you have all the facts. You might need to implement a mediation session between all parties involved and follow up with phone calls and additional meetings. Seek help from your regional manager if the situation escalates and further intervention is required. When a student is relocated, the new host family needs to be properly screened and then approved by the PSE office prior to moving the student. Understanding how to prevent a student move from occurring is key. First, help foster consistent and effective communication between the student and the host family. Don't ignore warning signs or red flags. Make sure that both the student and the host family are included in the action plan process. Following the PSE mediation process is critical for resolving conflicts and ensuring a successful exchange experience. Also, following up regularly after a mediation ensures that everyone is doing their part. If any situation arrives where the safety or well-being of the student is in question, then the student will need to be removed from the home immediately. As we mentioned before, it is a basic local coordinator responsibility to serve as a designated emergency family. This is a family who is pre-screened with a host family application on file and ready to host a student in the instance of an emergency move. A PSC permission to travel request, or PTR, needs to be submitted if travel involves the student traveling alone, going to travel with someone other than the host family, traveling internationally, which includes Mexico and Canada, if the student will be traveling on a plane, if the trip will be longer than 72 hours, or if the student will be missing school. The permission to travel request form is in the resources section of ZAP. Here is the general process for student travel approval. First, the student will need to complete the permission to travel request, or PTR. Then, the local coordinator or regional manager will submit this form to the PSE office. Please note the following. All travel requests should be submitted to the PSE office at least 2 weeks prior to the departure date. If a student will be missing any school, they will need to obtain a school official signature on their travel form to verify approval. Also, travel should never be booked until approval from the PSE office is granted. Here are some important points. Before embarking on any international travel, students will need to receive approval from both PSE and the school that has issued their I-20. The student will also need to have the school official sign the second page of the I-20 in the travel endorsement section for re-entry. Also, even with proper documentation, students with F1 visa status are not guaranteed the right to re-enter the United States. PSE has no influence over the student's exit from and entry back into the United States. Host families should always carry a copy of the student's insurance card and medical release information when traveling. The permission to travel requests are approved based on the original information provided. If the travel plans change, PSE approval needs to be reconfirmed. It is the responsibility of students and host families to report any changes immediately to their local coordinator or PSE office. Now, let's talk about student medical insurance. Some students will receive insurance from their sending agency and will be provided the documents before arrival. Students should always carry their PSE ID card and insurance card. If insurance is not accepted, the student is responsible for costs. Host families should never sign documents regarding medical payment responsibilities. Insurance is for injury or illness only. Contact your regional manager or PSE office immediately if there is a serious health concern or for any questions about explanation of benefits or bills received. Now, we will talk about what procedures to follow in the case of specific emergencies. For accident or illness, host families and local coordinators are instructed to always seek medical attention for the student when needed. The student's insurance card and medical release will need to be presented to the medical provider to obtain treatment. For serious medical emergencies, please contact the PSE office immediately by calling 877-222-9803. The PSE office will contact and relay information to and from the natural parents abroad. For a lost or missing student, if you receive information that a student is missing or has run away, immediately call the PSE emergency number above. Contact your local law enforcement agency as soon as you have determined the student is missing or has been abducted. Here are some guidelines regarding money. Host families should not discuss their stipend amount with their student or other host families. Students and their host families should not borrow money from each other. Money misunderstandings can create distrust in student and host family relationships. Students are expected to have access to at least $250 every month and $500 for medical or emergency situations. Host families should never co-sign on a cell phone plan for the student or on a student's bank account. Students are insured for medical and dental emergencies. Host families should not pay any medical or dental bills. The copay and deductible amounts are listed on the student's insurance card. Now, let's explore some important points about student departure. Students need to depart from their host family's home within 1 week of the last day of school or graduation. In April, obtain flight information from your students and send it to the PSE office. Also, confirm separately with your students and host families regarding next year's placements if returning. Students participating on the trimester program have specific arrival and departure dates that are preset. Make sure students clean their rooms, pack their items, prepay for any shipping, and find storage for belongings if necessary. Also, confirm returning students' placements before they return home. Our operations team includes dynamic team players who are committed to supporting the mission and goals of the organization. This concludes the PSE Local Coordinator Annual Refresher Training. After completing and passing the assessment, you will satisfy the PSE requirements for this training. If you have any questions, contact your regional manager or the PSE office. Again, thank you for all that you do as a local coordinator. We appreciate you.